Hello, everybody. It's Ego Dragon, the page author of What They're Not Telling You from Facebook. I just figured I'd start making videos because I can only say so much with memes. And if you don't know about my page, it started back in 2020, and they heavily censored me around September of 2020 before the election. Especially whenever I brought up the laptop, it got really bad where I would get anywhere from 10 to 30,000 reactions to, like, I'm lucky to get 200 now. But that's not the point. The main reason why I figured I'd start a video is because I wanted to cover something that not a lot of people are covering on video. Because a lot of people cover the lies and corruption of the establishment, but they're not really offering solutions. And solutions are important because without solutions, all we do is bicker about who's more corrupt, this side or this side. And there's already a lot of good people exposing the corruption. I mean, if you want to see that, I would definitely recommend you check out Redacted with Clayton and Natalie Morris. They're probably one of my favorites because they cover a lot of global news. And if you like a little bit of humor, there's Russell Brand and JP Sears. I mean, they at least make it funny when you're watching it, and they do cover some pretty interesting stuff too. Russell Brand's really good about giving you kind of a different outlook if you're more of a right-leaning person. He's not. So it's good to have a balance, like Kim Iverson, who is more of like a Democrat. And then you have Jimmy Dore, who I don't really know where he leans. I'm guessing libertarian. I've watched him some too. He's pretty funny, and he does pretty good coverage of when they're BSing you with something on the mainstream. And we all know Tucker is no longer on Fox News because they can't have anti-war, anti-big pharma on mainstream because that's what's funding the mainstream. So don't expect to see Tucker on mainstream anytime soon. But I'm sure he'll be back. He'll be back somewhere. They're just going to try to keep him quiet as long as they can so they can get Biden pushed through the primary because they're scared as hell of Kennedy. They don't want him having a debate with Kennedy because that would just be terrible. I mean, if Kennedy somehow won the primary, you'd probably see Democrats for Trump shirt, in the end, because Kennedy is not someone the establishment wants either. And while Donald Trump isn't ideal for them, they would probably rather have Donald Trump than Kennedy. But I was not saying I like Kennedy more than Trump or Trump more than Kennedy. I'm not here to debate that because we could go on all day about who is better or worse. All right? But as for everyday problems and solutions as a society that we face, you have solutions given, but they're not actual solutions. It's more so they give you a solution that will not work, and then the other side calls out how the solution won't work and how it will make things worse. And some people just want the solution, so they want progress towards the solution, the progressive people, so they'll vote for that. And you got the other people that know that the solution they're pushing is going to destroy our economy even further, so they vote against that crazy progressive solution being offered. It's not even really progressive, it's more so radical distraction. It's just to get people fired up. It's to get you and your neighbor on opposing sides focused against each other instead of seeing what they're doing. But let's look at this medical care system. All right. One of the main problems, and you have to agree with this at least, even if you disagree with everything else I've said, you have to agree it is cheaper to eat unhealthy than it is to eat healthy. Well, it's also hard for poor people to pay for health insurance. That's why they get government aid, the ones that are lucky enough to get it. And it doesn't make any sense that the people that need the most help with health insurance have to eat the unhealthiest food. Now, does it? I mean, someone's benefiting. It's Big Pharma. Big Pharma is funding the establishment and the establishment media, so they don't really have an agenda to solve the problem that's lining their pockets. All right. Otherwise, they would have pushed these ideas. And what I was going to get into is like subsidies. They subsidize milk and meat. They do this to keep the price of milk from not being some crazy $9 a gallon so people can afford to buy it. The farmer can afford to make money, which there's a whole corrupt thing with the big agriculture I'm not going to get into right now. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of that. Some of you may not. That'll be a different discussion some other time. But to get back to the point, they're always talking about raising taxes on unhealthy food. So they're going to raise prices on stuff, whether it's the health care or inflation, because they're printing off money to basically patch up the disasters that they're making until it collapses in on itself. So they're going to raise the prices of junk food one way or the other. So if they're going to raise the prices of junk food, whether it's with direct taxes, they could take the money from the taxes and they could subsidize the healthy food. This gives the person with less money the ability to eat healthier, and the person with more money can afford to still eat unhealthy. And the reason how that would work better is the person that can afford to eat unhealthy can more likely afford to pay more for health insurance. So how would that affect health insurance? Well, let's look at car insurance. If you drive your car safely and responsibly, you don't get tickets, you have a cheaper rate. So if you go to the doctor and you show an improvement on your healthy lifestyle from eating healthy and exercise, it should be known to your insurance company that you are improving your lifestyle or living a good healthy lifestyle. You should get a cheaper insurance rate. And the reason this is important is that would make it where there is an incentive to be healthy. There isn't for not just your health. I mean, everyone wants to be healthy. If you've ever been unhealthy, like I've had cancer, that's no fun. No one wants to be unhealthy, but some people don't think about that. They only think about now. Well, money is kind of a now thing for a lot of people, especially ones that don't have a lot of it. So they would have more power to have control over their own finances and lives. And without individual responsibility, you can't have freedom. All right? Freedom is a great thing. We all want freedom. But in order for freedom to exist, you have to have individual responsibility, or freedom cannot sustain itself. Because somebody always has to pay for something. Nothing is actually free. All right? So we have to remember that individual responsibility must be there, or there will be no freedom. They will get what they want, a destroyed society and authoritarian control. But getting back to the point that having the healthier food being cheaper and having the health insurance being cheaper for those living a healthier lifestyle, it wouldn't solve the problem, but it would be a start. And that's what we need, is a start. And we need people to start solving things, instead of just bickering and making these BS solutions we know won't work. And that's kind of why I'm starting these videos. I'm going to start covering topics. This was just an example and it was summarized. It's not really supposed to go in depth, being my first video. But I want you to debate. I want you to come up with your own ideas, and obviously if I say something wrong, call me out in a comment, or if you have something that's better, say it. I want to read it. Other people need to read it too. We have to start coming up with these solutions, because we're never going to get anywhere letting these bought and paid for puppets solve our problems, all right? So that's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this to get rich. I hate doing this, to be honest, but I don't see anybody else really offering solutions. So hopefully there'll be more people that like making videos and doing this for a hobby that will start, because we really need it. We need to come together as people and stop bickering about things that get us nowhere, because that's just what the establishment wants. You know, they want us to just focus on hating each other over our differences, and that's why they do all this crazy stuff, whether it's grouping people by their skin color or whatever. It's not to raise anybody up, it's just to divide us. Because if you give someone else something you're not giving that other person, then you're just going to make this person here jealous. And then you're on the other side, you're telling this person they're a helpless victim. So that's oppressing them mentally. So you're just enabling the oppression here, and you're creating resentment over here. So they know what they're doing. They're masters. They've been doing this for a long, long time. And it's just time that we started taking things into our own hands, you know, and trying to get out there and make a difference. And if you have something of value to say, say it. Sure, people are going to insult you, or I'm going to have a ton of trolls who I'll ignore from this video. But that's just how it is. You know, I mean, you can't let that get you down, because if people would stop worrying about approval of others and just, you know, want their self-approval from within, we would be better off. But that's also another topic, and I want to thank you for at least listening to this video. If you listened this long, thank you, and if you have something to say, say it. I would love to read it. Alright, well, you have a good day.